A film in 3 minutes. If I were to ask you, how well do you know the person you love? What would your answer be? Completely and totally? Of course, I hear you say, without a shadow of a doubt. However, what if you, your children, and your partner that you think you know are suddenly faced with a life or death situation? One where your special someone, in a split second, makes a decision that takes you on a journey of discovery that could appear hilarious to some and increasingly disturbing to any of us wondering if we would have acted differently in Ruben Östlund's 2014 Turist, a stomach-churning examination of human behavior that explores its darkly comic subject matter with scalpel-like precision and will leave you debating with yourself and perhaps your loved one for years to come. Set over a 5-day period at a middle-class ski resort in the French Alps, the story follows a Scandinavian family on vacation, the patriarch of which is Thomas. All is well until, during a terrifying avalanche, Thomas makes a decision which his wife Ebba is shaken to her core over, questioning the integrity of the man she thought she knew and whether she can ever trust him again. Partly inspired by scientific studies on extreme distress and emergencies, as well as data on the aftermath of catastrophes which report men having a higher rate of survival than women and children, Turist, or Force Majeure as it's known outside of Sweden, is the kind of comedy that proves the old maxim, if you can't laugh, you'd cry, as its subject matter, performances and cinematography leave little room for absurdist escapist fantasy and instead feel unrelentingly serious. Aided by cinematographer Fredrik Wenzel, who captures the remote, dangerous beauty of the ski resort with a style that could fool you into thinking you were watching a Swedish crime drama. But the comedy's true eeriness comes not from the coldness of its setting, but rather from the internal hellscape of Thomas and Ebba's relationship. Their marriage, depicted at first as the model nuclear cliché, is twisted, dissected, and pulled apart by the intense strain of Thomas's actions, making us squirm as we see this on paper perfect couple try to understand and confront the disturbing truth about human nature whilst keeping up appearances to their friends and children. Is this a comedy? Well, that really depends. Is the sight of a man facing up to his inner failings and then being crushed by them amusing? Perhaps, but as Jordan Peele once said, the difference between comedy and horror is the music, making Turist's reckoning with human behavior hit like the hardest of hard-hitting documentaries, providing ample opportunity for us to quietly smirk at the despair of Thomas before we realize that the joke is on us, that the person we love could actually do the same thing. And scarier still is the punchline that we could be capable of doing the same thing to them.